Let's check. Let's actually check that I said this correctly. Okay, we are streaming to AWS, Squibus, Shop 12, and our shared channel.
We are
Yes, it does
good.
appear things are going. Good morning, everyone, and
morning.
welcome to another episode of Bean Streaming, where
Yeah.
Darko and myself either talk a lot of tech with you or show you how we build various things. And apologies for missing Friday's session. That was my fault. We had a nanny that couldn't come in, so I had to play daddy daycare for the day with a 3-year-old. So I did a lot of Duplo building, not Lego yet because the pieces are too small, and running around and running around and running around.
Duplo was always like a thing that I would love to have. As a kid, like Duplo was something that was unreachable for me, at least back then. So I've seen Duplo like twice in my life when I was a kid, and it was like, oh my God, like the rich kids have Duplo. But yeah, it's different now, I guess. So, but I bet you had some fun.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I know South Africa, it's expensive, but I mean, putting into contents like a little set is €5.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's not like you
That's
go
not,
out and
yeah.
buy a set every week, but I mean,
Yeah.
you buy one like once every 2 months or so, and then because it's new, it's like, ooh, let's play with it all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, fair point, fair point. Cool. Yeah, and welcome everybody. I guess I did miss Friday. I was intending to like, hey, maybe I'm gonna stream alone on Friday, but I was just overwhelmed with work. I'm like, you know what? Let's completely skip it all. It's not the same with Cobus here. So
Oh,
no.
well, it's now Quibus plus one. I don't know if you saw my picture on Twitter.
Cobus plus one. Oh, I didn't see it. Yeah, I saw the. You are the Android now.
First, oh yeah, first smart device.
Wow.
It's actually quite interesting. So it's literally it uses NFC with the phone. So you tap it, and then it pulls out the blood sugar level, and yeah, then you can keep an eye on it. It was literally a case of it's there. Am I going to grab it or not? Hey, happy light. Not twins, but just brothers from other mothers.
Exactly, from different continents, different countries, and all the stuff, right? So, Cobus bot, yeah. But it would be even more awesome if that little patch was like IoT enabled and that you can stream stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, but I think their power, and also, do you really want something that connects and sends out stuff that close? Well, I suppose your phone's close to you the whole time, but yeah.
Exactly. I do have like one of those. I keep it on the shelf there. Like it's one of those Zigbee smart home thermometers. They like use one button cell battery, and they can last for like a year on that button cell.
Wow.
And they constantly keep communicating with us like a Zigbee hub here, sending constant like every couple of minutes, like information on temperature and humidity. So there are very low power devices you can run. So pretty cool. Hello everybody. Hello Waffles. Hi. Welcome to Monday stream. And yeah, so Cobus, how was your weekend? What did you do? Something fun besides being with kids?
Yes, we had an awesome barbecue with my family yesterday. So we went to visit my parents. They live in a place called Paarl. Fun history there. The reason the place is called Paarl, which is I think it's Dutch for a pearl, is that there's a big chunk of granite on the Blue Mountain. I don't think it's called Paddleberg, but I don't think it's officially a mountain. But in any case, bit of granite when it wets looks like a pearl apparently. And that's why it's called Paarl. So it's about
Okay.
So quickly, happy lights. Today we are going to still figure out what we want to talk about. Generally speaking, we do tech talks and a little bit of other digressions into just general stuff, like for example, my mood poster. So that's yeah.
Yeah, we both of us work for AWS, so we're developer advocates at AWS, and we focus on the cloud and AWS and all that stuff. But we are nerds and technology enthusiasts at heart, so we kind of like. In these sessions, Mondays and Fridays, we usually just talk tech in general. So it's fun. So feel free to join in if you have a specific topic or a question regarding AWS or the cloud or tech. We would love to interact with you because the most fun streams are when we talk to the folks. Hey, you are in cybersec.
Oh, nice,
cool.
Then first question is blue or red team because that's very important.
Oh man, like one of my favorite things to listen to on like when I'm doing something is like listen to what is the DEF CON conferences and talks, like people who red team and people who blue team, like those, like the fun parts of that is like, oh, you're blue team. That's fun. Yeah, red teaming is, I guess, more fun, I guess, but there are a few folks out there like Deviant Olem. I'm not sure if you're from cybersec, you must know who Deviant Olem is. He's like one of the popular folks when it comes to cybersecurity and like red teaming and lock picking and like general just breaking into things, right? There you go. Wobbles has a great idea. Can you give me a nice example for Kinesis Firehose? Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
Kinesis Firehose. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, just quickly covering what Kinesis Firehose is, it's a service that allows you to ingest a lot of events and then persist them to S3 for querying and processing at a later stage. Because the challenge with streaming analytics is that, as the name suggests, Firehose, it comes at your face, and you can either take the data and store it, and if you can't process it in real time, you're going to lose data. Correct. So Firehose helps with that by storing the data as events in S3. And how it does this is that you've got two like dials you can tweak depending on how you want to store the data in chunks, where it's either the total amount in megabytes, in terms of if I reach X amount of megabytes, persist, or it's a time one. So you can set that time. I'm going to have to lie to you if I tell you what the minimum, maximum for those values are. But basically, then what happens is whichever one is hit first. So if the time expires, it persists, or if the size expires, then it persists, or is reached rather. Then it persisted. So that's the basics of what Firehose does. Now, as a good example, what some people do is they pipe all of their remote logs directly to Kinesis Firehose, for example, to persist and pass later, and also a lot of metrics. So let's say you've got IoT devices with lots of information coming in. You just fire those off the Firehose, and it'll take care of them and actually persist them for you, because it's a serverless service, and which means you just work on consumption.
Yeah. That's a great use case. I mean, take a step back and imagine having tens of thousands of Lambda functions running, and you want to log their executions. Of course, you can all log those things to like CloudWatch, but that can get pretty expensive pretty fast. Maybe you want to just, just dump all those logs into a Kinesis Firehose and then let Kinesis Firehose output those logs into an S3 bucket, and then you can do parsing. So it's great for massive amounts of streaming data. And when we say streaming, we don't essentially mean video. Any type of data, any mass amount of data that you need to move from place A to place B. And place B usually being an S3 bucket or some data store. Kinesis Firehose is just great for that kind of a thing. So,
I mean, I can actually, if you give me a second, I can pull up a slide here that I did recently on the pricing, because that's one of the things that was super fascinating to me, is that initially I thought, it's just like to give you a context for how big it is, or how much it can actually process. So basically, this example says it's rounded up always to the nearest 5K. So let's say I've got a 3K record and I've got 1,000 records per second. Now, just keep in mind per second. Let's look at the numbers here quickly. We are talking then ingesting 4.9, almost 9 megabytes per second. That's not a non-trivial amount of data coming in. And that means that per month we ingest 12,300 and something thousand gigabytes, or 12.07 terabytes per month. 12 terabytes a month. Take it into account. So streaming at you nonstop the whole time. That cost works out to $360 basically.
Wow.
Which was one of those like, nice.
It's not that expensive, especially because it's a serverless thing. You don't have to worry about maintaining any of this thing. So Kinesis is I've never used it myself personally, but I've seen examples like these things that are just great. I mean, Kinesis is one of those glue services at AWS that help move things together, like Lambda functions. So
not to be confused with AWS Glue. Quickly,
not to be confused with AWS Glue. And also, you can actually integrate Lambda functions with Kinesis Firehose or Kinesis Streams. I'm not sure which, but basically you can have Lambda functions pick off data from a Firehose and do something with it as well. So it's a great way to scale up your streaming data per se. So I've never been to DEF CON. I really wish to go to DEF CON, but
it's on. Well, with a caveat, I want to go, but I'm scared to go because I know just enough to know what I don't know roughly,
Yeah.
and that just means that if I go there, it'll be one of those like no electronic device will come with me, probably no credit card even. Although I've got those RF shield bags for my credit cards, just in case. But even that, yeah.
But a friend of mine went, and his company basically banned him from taking the laptop, so he can go, but no company assets at all. So it was like that. I mean, and to be honest, like most people at DEF CON are like, you know, white hat hackers or whatever you would like to call them. They are not malicious, hopefully, but it's always a prank. And like I remember like watching that they have to actually train the hotel staff in those hotels about who's coming to the hotel, because they literally take photos of the keys or just scan RFID cards and just like make pranks on other people by breaking into rooms. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But so fun to
It does
listen
sound like a lot of fun though.
Yeah, but I must say, like, I watched a video recently about somebody doing like, you know, when we talk about hacking and when people talk about cybersecurity, it's like, oh, it's somebody behind a computer and just like banging out the Perl script and doing some, you know, port scanning and brute forcing and those kind of things. But to be honest, most of the time, it's just people engineering. It's that's a hacker, like the stock image of a hacker. But most of the time, it's just people hacking. It's people, social engineering. It's just exploiting the trusts of other people, because people, at least in most countries, are built that way that you first trust, then verify. So I've saw an example of like somebody just calling up a mobile company, like a girl calling up a phone company asking to get access to her husband's cell account, and she just played a crying baby in the background on YouTube.
I saw that.
And it's like and she got access, so she got a password and all the stuff. Like, it's just ridiculous. So it's called beaming, I believe, or something like that kind of a process. But there's also this guy who he's a red team person. So for you who do not know, red teaming in cybersecurity, there's blue teaming. Blue teams defend against attacks. Red teams attack, basically trying to penetrate the system. Not necessarily technically anyway, right? So there's a guy who does like red teaming, and he was employed by a bank to test out the bank's like security, right? So he literally walked into a bank, went behind the counter, went to the kitchen, had a coffee, waved to the manager, like, hey, hey, how are you, right? And he presented himself like the IT person of the bank. He got somebody to log into a workstation for him, and he had access like to banking system in 20 minutes. So it's weird. Yeah, wishing. It's wishing. Wow. Yes, you're happy like that. So fun times. By the way, we haven't asked. Is the audio okay? Just so we can confirm.
Are we balanced?
Are we balanced? Because we usually tend to have an offset to somebody being more loud than the other person.
I'm normally the loud one.
But yeah. So last week in AWS, I've actually spent this morning by recording a podcast. I've recorded I have a podcast that I do in Serbian. So I did a podcast that like what's new in AWS, and I kind of go over all the new things in the last week. Thank you, Waffles, Happy Light, and Flowlight. Thank you for the feedback. So there's been a few new interesting things coming last week. What is the biggest release of last week?
I've not yet looked. No, I've not yet caught up. It's
Time
on my list
stream.
one days.
Time stream.
Oh yes. I even saw a very nice Grafana dashboard for it. Yes.
Yeah, Time stream, the database we've been all waiting for like last year or more. It's finally released. It's a time series database from AWS, so that's a pretty cool feature. If you're looking for like a time series database, and this is where all of your IoT devices and cyber blood sugar patches should deliver stream data to, like, in real time. So it's a great thing.
No, relational is all good, thank you.
It's just relational. But yeah, also there's two new things related to our line of work, or the things we find fun. There's two new things related to infrastructure as code.
Okay.
There is a preview of a new is it a construct or a new module to CDK, to CDK for ECS. So, you know how in CDK and CloudFormation and Terraform, anything, when you create tasks, you define task definitions by the use of JSON files, right? Well, with this new thing, you can actually define all those tasks within native CDK code. So no longer need to generate like a specific JSON file to define a task definition, but you can do all of those things through CDK. Now, I haven't played with it, but it helps you like integrate things, integrate your tasks directly with AppMesh and FireLens. I don't know what FireLens is. So
FireLens is a sidecar container that allows you to pipe your logs into other logs destinations, not just CloudWatch.
Okay, there we go. So those things are it's currently in developer preview, but it will ease up on creating of containers and task definitions and all the stuff on CDK. That's pretty cool. And the second thing is, I actually want to bring this up so I can read it because I don't want to talk about it. It's called CFN. Oh, I forgot now. It's CFN something. Oh boy. CloudFormation. Wait. I have my RSS feed. Why did Google kill Google Reader? Where is it? CloudFormation. It's a really neat. It's another tool, a command line tool for AWS CloudFormation. CloudFormation Guard, CFN Guard. So it's a nifty little command line utility that basically gives you the ability to write policies or rules on your CloudFormation templates. Basically, it will check your CloudFormation templates for like specific policies. You can like set up basically tags or like definitions, basically saying, hey, I need everything to be encrypted, right? And if your CloudFormation template is not, it's not CFNAG. No, CFNAG is something else. It's CFNAG is made by Stelligent. CFNAG checks your templates for what is it called? Security issues, right? It can detect potential insecure infrastructure. But CloudFormation Guard actually like checks for example, you set up a flag saying encryption must be enabled, and it will verify that all of the resources that are being generated by CloudFormation that can have encryption enabled will have encryption enabled. So it's pretty cool. You create these rule sets and you kind of test them out. They're very similar to CFN Lint, but CFN Lint per se just does linting and syntax checking and compares the code. So it's more of a compliance thing. Yeah, that's a good point. Happy place. What? So you kind of create these security policies. You create rules, and then you implement this tool inside of your CI/CD toolchain, right? Where you actually test your CloudFormation code. So pretty cool.
Okay, that's quite nice. What else is there that was cool? So I can catch up quickly.
What else was cool? Let me think about it. What is the cool thing? You have the worst name. We have I just figured out I'm not sure if it's the worst name service, but it's very close to the worst name service. And it just launched in Cape Town. That's why I remembered it. It is called, one second. No. Will I find it? I'm clicking on my thing. Yes.
Your list.
Certificate Manager, AWS Certificate Manager Private Certificate Authority. Is available in Cape Town since last week. So so that's the thing. By the way, Waffles, this thing is actually currently in preview, so just be careful. CloudFormation Guard is GA. It's good. No, the other thing is in preview. So that's kind of a thing. I mean, the biggest thing of last week was definitely DocumentDB. It's not DocumentDB. No, not Document. TimeStream, Amazon TimeStream. So that's the biggest thing here of last week. And
so the question is it time to do the TimeStream again?
Hey. Oh, by the way, one more thing connected to our line of work is you can actually now CodePipeline supports GitHub Enterprise servers. So you can actually connect local GitHub Enterprise servers that you have running within your AWS account instead of having just GitHub per se. And it also supports git clone as the source action. So I think it can actually clone from any place basically now. I'm not sure it can trigger automatically because if it's just a git clone from a random Git repository, it needs a way to detect those things. So, but it does support like a git clone as a source object. So even if you have your own private hosted Git server, if you can let Code Pipeline know somehow that there's a new commit, Code Pipeline can actually run a git clone from that place. So
Custom webhooks in EventBridge.
or that
You
there
can
we
now
go.
do that.
Yeah.
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 So EventBridge actually solves that because you can now, and I think I was just check when it was released. It was very recently. I saw the message go out. Either that or it's something I've been dreaming about.
If you dream about EventBridge codes, I'm scared.
Yeah, and I've got weird dreams. EventBridge webhooks. I'm certain I saw an announcement around that. I'll have to go look for it.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah, no.
look, I mean, conference nightmares is still a thing. I have had many of those in the past where either you pitch up to the wrong conference or favorite one is you pitch up with no pants. Don't ask me why. Or you don't have the right deck, or you miss your plane. I've all of those.
Oh man. So okay, before I continue, I want to show you something. I want to ask you a question before. I want to ask you a question after, but I want to show off a new gadget I have because I got a new gadget last week and I am very happy about it. I bought this. It's a voice recorder.
Oh, I thought it was a taser. Oh,
No. Tasers are. I wouldn't show it on stream, right? Just not me. No, it's a voice recorder, so it's like just a general.
well, I've seen
recorder.
these before, yeah.
Yeah, and it also accepts like the big old mics. So
Oh, XLR.
XLR, yeah. So and all my mics are XLR. So what I do right now is that I basically record when I do videos. I record audio on this thing separately, so I can plug in a big mic into this and record it here, not record it on the camera, and then I can just play around with the audio much easier. Usually, I would record the audio to the PC and a lot of different things. So I'm happy with this. And
Yeah,
also,
Sorry, I was going to say I'm also getting to a point where I'm starting to look at or relook my audio setup because
yeah.
for basics it's good, but I mean when you want to get that real high quality crisp video,
Yeah.
it's a little bit problematic because I can't do 50 FPS with my desktop setup, but I can do it with my camera.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like when I was recording like these videos for like Dev Day, I was just recording. So I had like 3 sources, and I'm very sorry for our video editing guy Tom. I'm sorry, but I had like a camera which would record my face. I had QuickTime which was recording my desktop, and this was recording my audio. So I just sent him 3 files and like, hey, just merged them. And I mean, it's fine. It's not that complicated, but it gives you the flexibility.
So it is if you realize too late that your audio clip is being filtered out. So it was hilarious. So for those not familiar, how it works is because you've got cameras, one video source, and you've got QuickTime recording the other screen. So the camera, obviously, whatever you're recording there, has got some kind of audio setup that you sync, that you use with. Then for the screen, it's always good to have a second mic somewhere, in my case, my webcam, pick up audio. And then what you do is at the start of it, you go, which you didn't hear now, did you?
Yeah.
So
that's why you disable audio processing when you're recording things in actual you attempt to disable audio recording at least.
So my challenge is I haven't learned enough how to do that type of audio processing afterwards. So I just use what I currently have, which is my machine learning from NVIDIA thing set up. Because, can you hear this?
I can hear something. I cannot hear the bang. At the moment, I could hear some like noise, but it's
Okay, but can you hear anything over my voice at the moment or not? Because I'm busy, as you can see, the camera shaking because I'm banging my desk.
Yeah, but your voice is like very robotic. Like that's when that's where the NVIDIA RTX or not RTX, but the machine learning thing tries to emulate your voice or convert it to something else. No, I mean that's amazing. The problem with doing that is like, so I use DaVinci Resolve as my video editing tool of choice. Right? It's free. It's just great. It just works. And DaVinci actually has like a voice audio sync tool. So you select multiple clips and you say audio sync, and it detects based on the sound wave which audio belongs where, and it's perfect. Like most of the times I've used it, it was just perfectly. It will align different audio tracks and video tracks perfectly, right? The only time it wouldn't work if I would record my voice through NVIDIA, because NVIDIA distorts my voice a bit compared to the one that's being picked up by the camera. So I just use raw audio, and the only thing I do editing audio is I just in Audacity you can do like remove noise. and that's it. So that's all the audio things I do. But I don't have a dog. I don't have kids, so I have a relatively more quiet surroundings. Let's say that.
Yeah. Sorry. Just quickly have to message this person. Had a thing that I can't avoid because unfortunately work doesn't stop when we live stream.
Yeah,
Nice.
well, so I had a question. I wanted to ask you a question. So first of all, let's answer the question to Happy Light. How long have you guys been in cybersec? I've never been in cybersec, and we are not in cybersecurity. We are. I'm not. Maybe Kobus is, but I'm not.
Indirectly, we are.
Yeah, indirectly, everybody is.
Yeah, because obviously doing automation and DevOps,
Yeah.
You tend to have to worry about how things are secured and all of that, and
Correct.
work with the security team to define the security posture of what you are, where are the entry points,
Yeah.
where are the fun vectors of attack, and all those fun, joyful things. And with regards to lockpicking, that's just something that's fun.
Yeah, exactly. I think like us being nerds and geeks, we just like the aspect of it. So it's and in the modern world, everybody should do security. So it's very important that security is built in from the ground up. So yeah.
I just want to go find my
Your lock?
Sorry, I'm just scratching quick. Yeah, I'm trying to find my lock. I've got one lock, which is really a nasty one. But maybe it might be in the second set.
Maxi PABG or Mukchepa BG or Mixera BG or whatever you would like to say that. Do you know any good web blogs for cloud news or maybe bloggers? So my advice here would be if you are part of the Twitterverse, there's a lot of great people out there on Twitter that cover cloud-based things, right? You know, and of course there's specific people who cover things when it comes to AWS. Some people cover things related to other clouds, but there's a few other folks on Twitter that I would highly recommend. If you're just interested in AWS news, like we have the AWS news blog where we release basically daily, or every time something new comes out, it's available there. So it's a really great way to kind of get the information straight from there. So that's something that I would suggest for sure. Is there something you would like to suggest, Kobus?
Yeah, so I quite enjoy Corey Quinn's Last Week in AWS newsletter. It's he's a cloud economist, and he's also what I love about him is very direct about his opinion about the services. So he's one of those people that, while externally might look like he gives us a hard time, it's what we love because he's got very high standards and he will not let us get away with random crap, which is awesome. So that's the kind of customer you want, is like literally calling you out on the stuff that you aren't doing right, and also tells you, hey, this is actually good when it is good. So
exactly. So
highly recommend him.
Him and there's also like a Cloud Guru. They used to do like I'm not sure if they still do it, like a weekly recap of AWS, a video as well. So a Cloud Guru does as well. So they're really great. And a Cloud Guru is a great training partner of ours that deliver great training on AWS. And they're also from Cape Town, I guess, right? Or South Africa. Yeah. So that's very cool. And Happy Light, feel free to ping us on social media. If we can help, we're happy to. So
but also just quickly. This is not self-promotion, so I don't have to put money in the jar, Darko. There are weekly sessions for that. We host the EMEA-wide one on Wednesdays at the same starting time this. So whatever the 30 minutes ago is for you, where we rotate people on our team to answer any questions. There's literally any AWS-related tech questions, so you can come any Wednesday at 11 Central European time. And then we also have a African office, AWS Africa office hours, which is not just focus on Africa. It's literally the same type of thing where you come ask us technical questions on Thursdays at 12. So in 30 minutes time from now, every Thursday. So feel free. We are here. We answer questions.
Yeah.
Come chat to us.
Yeah, you'll see us often, and not just us, but other folks from AWS on stream. We tend to have this interaction with people right now. So anything we can help, very happy to. So, but Kobus, I wanted to ask you a question.
Yes.
What was your worst conference speaking experience?
That one is very simple. That's very simple.
Okay, what are you?
AWS Summit, Cape Town, 2019.
Okay.
My first session as in the local market as an AWS developer advocate.
Oh wow. Okay.
So let's set the scene quickly. I was on the track for that one specifically. That was in the keynote hall. So that hall seated 4,000 people. So my thumbs up at that point, there were about 1,200 people in there.
Okay.
So I had my deck, I had everything, was good to go. So I walk on the stage, I plug my laptop in, click, 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 and I start my talk. And about 5-6 slides in, I started realizing something's not quite right with my deck.
Okay.
And to this, I still don't know if I didn't save the deck or if I opened a bad copy of it or misnamed or something. But basically, how it works when we prepare is we obviously started with a deck and put a lot of different things together. Now, it might be a previous talk or someone else's talk. So in this case, it was another deck that I started off with and then customized it for my story. And then sat there with slides that I knew I didn't want to use in an order that I couldn't remember and literally winging it as the slides come along. Because you can only focus so much on what slides are coming.
But were you actually able to see like the preview of the next slide at least, when you're not surprised by the slide?
Yes, but it's kind of like pick your own adventure where you don't know what the skill trees are. So it's literally like, let me talk about what I think my talk was about, and I hope the slides come up in some order that I can do a story.
Wow, that is Jesus. No. It's so difficult. I mean, you have to be able to like wing it sometimes, right? But it's so stressful because you have like your like mind to a 100% trying to figure out what's happening and how can you actually bring some value out of this. Here it is. The topic is just general tech chat. So the current question I had for Cobus was, what is his worst speaking experience at a conference? So and he had a wrong deck at a conference. Oh my god, no. It's pretty much fun, right? But I guess you were able to do it, right?
Well, obviously I got some not as great feedback on that, which is completely fair and honest. Some people did think that it was a good talk, and I'm very confused about that.
Okay.
But yeah.
Wow, my god, no. Well, mine was it was, I think, my first public appearance, and it was like it wasn't even like a proper talk like I delivered. So I was supporting the great Arun Gupta. Arun Gupta is he was a technologist at AWS. I'm not sure what his role was. He's now working for Apple. But at that time, Arun was delivering a keynote at ChefConf. So it was 2018 ChefConf in Chicago. In Chicago. So, and I was his support. I was basically with him on stage, demonstrating how we can deploy Kubernetes and manage it with Chef. Not manage it, but actually do like inspect, so compliance testing against Kubernetes cluster nodes, right? And I was on stage, like there was 2,500 people on stage, and out of the 2,500 people, like I walked up on stage and like, what the, like my first time in front of that much people, and I had a list of commands I need to run and show it on stage, and I literally forgot to run one command, and I ran it and it's like, command not found, and I froze. I'm like, what now? Like, there's a video of that. There's a video of me doing that, like freezing, like that's a wrong command. And then Arun just threw like, oh no, it's the other command. I'm like, oh yes, right. And I completely like lost 5 kilos then in that moment, because like I just sang. But it turns out that okay.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh nice.
But I think just starting to treat. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go. Go.
I think starting to treat like conferences and talks with a much lighter approach has served me quite good, because I don't treat them as I of course I approach them very much seriously, but I know that the audience is just there to have a good time. So even if I mess up, it's all fun, right? So that's how I approach it.
What is your most fun you've had with a talk?
The most fun I had with a talk. Ooh, wait a second. Let me have a think. I did have a few really fun ones. Let me think. I know I did a talk once on developer tools. I'm not sure which conference was it. It was one of the conferences somewhere in Eastern Europe. And I know I walked up on stage, like a full room, and I walked up on stage and I just was silent, looked at the people, said, developer tools suck. And just everybody was like, what? And then explain how you can make developer tools less suck. So that was my most fun thing, because I had the audience attention of the audience, and I was very energetic at that talk. I was like, every time I was trying to make a point, I threw my water bottle at the floor.
Oh
It was a thing, right? And so yeah, but yeah,
Wow.
I must say I learned those things from a lot of great speakers at AWS. Like we have a few great speakers here in Germany that kind of taught us how we should speak and how should we keep people's attention and those things. So I kind of learned it from them. So I think
Okay.
that being edgy sometimes and
Mm.
being very relatable to the people, even on stage, is very, very important. So, what's your most fun one?
We've got there's actually two. So the one is there's a local conference called ScaleConf, which
Okay.
happens every year around about March in the Botanical Gardens, which is close to me.
Okay.
And they've got an interesting, and I can't remember exactly the history behind it, but when you get to the podium at the front to present, there will always be a nice bottle of whiskey and
Okay.
a small cup. For some reason, that just started like years because they've been running for, I think, 8, 9, 10, 11 years now.
Okay.
And it's one of those, like, the whiskey's there. So at 10 a.m. in the morning, I just said, well, it's over here. I'm definitely going to have this.
Okay.
Because this was still when I wasn't an experienced speaker. I mean, I think that was probably my second or first, like, big conference talk. So obviously I would, like, look, start sipping the whiskey while you talk, which is great. But at some point, they started getting concerned because they thought I was, like, chugging it. And obviously, you don't want to be drunk on stage. That's not something you want to do. Yeah, so that was quite fun. The other fun one was last year during the Dark Dev Days. We should chat about that little fun whirlwind afterwards.
The Kobo stage. Yeah.
Yes, the Kubus track. Yes.
Kobo's track.
So there's a talk in there that I had to do for the last of the 3 days, which Martin Beebe usually did on CDK, actually. And it specifically had pre-recorded videos in. But the nice thing of the pre-recorded videos is you can pretend to be typing on the screen or on stage while you're just, clack, 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 clack in the movies. And then what you do is, and then what happened is I would then go sideways and start talking again, and the next video would start. But then I specifically timed it so that I was, oops, I'm late. Okay, fine. Joke's over. It's recording. This is live. I'm sorry. So that was a lot of fun. But that's that dark days.
Yeah, I remember those things. Like that's one of the times I worked with you. Before I was even a developer advocate, I was a solution architect, and I helped you deliver some of those talks. And there was one track. Literally, all talks were by Cobus.
Yeah.
So Cobus was like 4 or 5 talks a day. It was like something ridiculous. 4, Jesus. So
yeah, no, there was what had happened is that initially I put my hand up for a lot of the different talks. And I got 2 each, and then what ended up happening is one of the other speakers for some reason couldn't make it, so I got a third one. But it's the same talks, so it's 3 talks, just 3 days in a row. So yes, it sounds rough, but it's only 3 talks. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
But then what happened? There were some other complications as well with the scheduling with people that I got to take 1 extra talk on the Wednesday and then 1 extra talk on the Friday.
Okay.
But what made this whole exercise very, very fun is that I live down in Cape Town. Germany is not close to Cape Town. So Tuesday night, I jump on a plane here, fly over. So over the night, land on Wednesday morning. Didn't even have a hotel. Literally just organize some transport to the venue, get there, do 4 talks. Then that evening, get on a plane, get to, because the first one was in Cologne, I believe. Yeah. And then the second day we flew to Vienna. And then it was a case of, at least I slept in like a room that night. 3 talks. That night flew over to Berlin, did 4 talks. That afternoon, I did manage to have, I remember, a beer after the whole thing with the team before I had to go to the airport to fly back to South Africa. And just for context, that is I think I flew via Frankfurt. So it's an hour and something flight to Frankfurt. And then from Frankfurt, it's 11 and a half hours down. It's like, oh, that was, a fun little jaunt.
That was a jaunt for sure. My God, no. But like those things, like for you especially, you're so far away. So man, no.
Getting up to Europe is long.
It is.
We don't have a lot of flights.
Exactly, and like, oh, we're in the same time zone, but buddy, like you're 10,000 kilometers away. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So there's a topic idea from Waffles about certification, and there's also a question from Hot Coffee. Yeah. Can I get a minimum VPS, please? You
Waffles.
can do VPS. You can do something.
You go first.
Just let me answer to Hot Coffee. When it comes to minimum VPS on AWS or a virtual private server, there are things that you can kind of approach on AWS in that way, and one of them is called Amazon Lightsail. Cobus did a stream last week on that topic, and you can check it out, I guess, on his channel as well. Lightsail is this really neat way to launch simple things like WordPress blogs on AWS, or like simple web servers or something like predefined like that. So if you want a VPS experience on AWS, do check out Lightsail. It will help you out quite a bunch.
And then, getting to Wapple's question.
Okay.
I have a great answer for you, which is that link that I've just pasted there, which is we actually have a Get Certified Challenge currently running between now and December, where we've made all of the training materials available for free, as well as it's what's called a test exam, or trial exam, where you could test whether you are exam ready or not. And all the steps are in that link that I sent in terms of to get ready for it, to make it easier for people to prepare for the different exams.
And there's also something you mentioned, I think, last time, that some of the communities are working with maybe getting certification vouchers to some people, right?
Yes, that one is. Yeah, it's kind of running. I'm still just catch up with exact details, but it works with specifically the user groups. So connect your local AWS user group and I'm sorry, I'm bumping my desk. Ask them about the exam vouchers. I don't know if it's 100% live yet or not, but we are working on it. So definitely go chat to your user group leaders about it.
That's a very good point. So people in the chat, and if you're using AWS extensively, if you're working with AWS, are you part of any AWS user group in your local area, or are you aware of any user group in your local area? Because user groups are very important, and I tend to I'm not sure how I can pronounce it. I see BG at the end, so I assume it's Bulgaria. So I would pronounce that as Mixer, Mixera. So where are you from? And if you can tell me, I would be happy to share like the local user group, and just to kind of stand on my soapbox and say, why are user groups at Bulgaria? There you go. So there is a user group in Sofia, and there's going to be a user group in Varna. It's coming soon. So, speaking of user groups, why are they important? Because if you're looking to have like a community of people who are interested in the same technological topics, right, and that meet from time to time when we don't have the plague, right, but and you have like a place to ask people technical questions directly, people who actually build stuff on AWS, user group is a great place. Like, just have so many experienced people there, just sharing knowledge and sharing experiences. So I would highly advise that you check it out. And there is even a link somewhere I can share. So let me just share the link here.
Because list all our user groups. Yeah.
Mixera. There we go. Mixera. Yeah. Yeah. Because let me just share this thing with you all like that. So this is a link to all the user groups in the world, and I'm sure you can find your local user group there as well. So make sure to join one. The user groups are not run by AWS. They're actually organized by the community. So they are all like grassroots movements. They're all basically people who just want to run a user group. And if there's no user group in your region and you wish to run a user group, you are quite welcome to do so. So user groups are basically something that you can do on your own. So no official things required besides just reaching out to us and saying, hey, I'm hosting a user group, and then we'll help you host that user group. So it's a great way to get involved, and a great way to basically get noticed in the AWS world. So a lot of our heroes are actually people from AWS user groups. So yeah.
There's also Slack communities that's
Slack
worthwhile joining. I actually don't have the developer one on hand. I don't know if you've got the link to that.
I don't have the invite link for it. Like there's an AWS developer community on Slack, and it's like a bunch of people who just use AWS, right? It's like a global thing, and there's an invite link for that. So we'll try to post the invite link somewhere on social media or something. Or if you want, just reach out to us directly, and we'll find it for you. But I don't have it right now. There are a bunch of user groups in the Netherlands. There's a few of them. There's one, I think, in The Hague. There's in Utrecht. There is one in Amsterdam. So there's a bunch of them as well. So I've been working with a few of them, and I know a few user group leaders there. So they're pretty active and they're pretty good. So I know that the folks from Amsterdam, they have really good sessions there because they have highly technical sessions. So it's really good. If you want to do more those things. It's just a great source of knowledge. And Cobus, also, you ran a user group, or you are running a user group in.
Yeah. So I kind of ran the AWS Cape Town user group, but never really got it going properly. The reason being is running a user group by yourself is hard. Don't do it. Get some co-organizers. And also my main focus is, and it still is in terms of user community, is the DevOps Cape Town user group, which I'm quite proud of. I mean, I think we've got, 2.5 or 3,000 members.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's one of the biggest. It's the second biggest, I think, in South Africa.
Wow.
I think it's the biggest single city one. So yeah.
That's pretty massive. I mean, 3,000 people. It's, I mean, coming from Eastern Europe, our user groups are quite small. Like, I think the biggest one is like 1,000 people. Yeah. So, Cobus, can you share the link again to Wapples?
Yeah, here we go, Wapples. That it's bit.ly/get-aws-certified. Let me pop it on the screen. There we go. Boom. Yeah. So we'll keep it up here for a little bit for those that might have missed it. Yeah. It is going to be an interesting week. This is one of those weeks where it is so full, and luckily a lot of the stuff is pre-recorded. And we just, it's been, and I think we need to clarify to people why we haven't been digging back into our coding and building our things. It's just like, firstly, reInvent is coming. reInvent this year is an online event, and we pre-record our sessions for that. Obviously, very, very high standards for that. I actually made a little video clip that I'll release probably later today on how this beautiful background transforms into a plain white background. Because I don't move my camera when I record.
We actually have to go like into the blank void of nothing when we record official videos, like for those official channels. So it's a lot of reasons why that has to happen, but I also have like a I'm not sure if I'm missing the white thing right now, but like you'll see, this is my recording setup here, and yeah, I just rolled out the white blank.
So you can see over here. This is actually what I look at when I see you. So I've got my camera mounted above my screen. Sorry, it's very hard to do it one-handed. Well, yeah. I actually have to move my camera, so I cannot do it in front of here. I actually moved to a desk here, so I unpin my camera. I have like a ring light with the camera stand on top. It's a thing, and I think that's a very fair point. Why are we kind of skimping out on the coding stuff? Is like we just have so much things going on, and it's time. Like it's reInvent season, and like I have to deliver a deck by Wednesday. I have to finish up a deck on one of my. I have 2 talks on reInvent. I'm very lucky to get 2, and I have I basically have like to prepare one deck to submit it by Wednesday, and I have not started officially yet. I have something, but I have to finish it up, so it's a mess. And I was spending my last week recording for the dev day and those things. Our heads are upside down. Nacho Pants, no, our heads are not upside down. Our hair has just migrated.
Yeah. We had a downwards migration, so
yeah.
So
fun. I must say.
What I want to say, speaking of Dev Day.
Yes.
So
No.
I'm not going to share my link, Cobus.
Yes.
Fine. We have an internal competition who can get more referrals.
Yes. Currently, I'm winning by a massive margin.
You are. So we have a Dev Day coming up on the 15th of October, which is in 10 days. So if you want to have like a lot of, or if you want to listen to a lot of good technical talks on the topic of AWS, do check it out. Registration link is going to be somewhere where Cobus pasted, but Cobus.
I will do that in a second. I will actually give you a neutral one so that neither of us gets the benefit. So like I said, it's a very friendly internal competition, except I'm going to win.
Well, I did make a really nice push today to win. So I did make a video.
Oh, I saw you.
Yeah, I made a special video promoting the Dev Day. It includes this monitor, and if you want to check it out, find me on Twitter.
It's very late. Everybody's already registered. No, don't follow him on Twitter. I'll give you the link right here. You don't have to go to Twitter. Trust me. There we go. Where are these links? Oh, there we go. Got the links. And don't worry, Doc. I will be very, very nice and not. Let me get the full one and then rip it out. Wait, there are campaigns and things in here. I'm changing it. I'm actually making it a joint one now, Darko, because
Yeah.
you want to see how many people actually use this link.
Okay.
So it will be a joint new one. So let me create a new Bitly quickly. Wow, that is a long link. Yes. Copy and share it. There we go.
Okay.
Pop on the
I'm
screen
now
as well.
supposed to trust you that that's not your link. Okay.
Yes, I can actually. I can show you the screenshot if you wanted to. If you don't
fine.
believe me.
I have the email with your link actually, so it's fine. But yeah, this is coming up on. So Kubus, maybe you can tell us what is your talk about on the Dev Day.
My one is a mouthful because
Mouthful.
I wanted to. Yes. So my whole topic title, and please bear with me while I finish this, is Container Cluster Optimization, blending Spot and on-demand for both AWS EC2 hosts and AWS Fargate while meeting SLAs.
Wow, buddy, Jesus! Could you make like an acronym for that or something?
I was trying to figure out a nice thing, but I mean, it's quite a nice, fun, interesting topic in terms of how to use Spot and how to use different Spot instance families, how to blend them, because you get quite a lot of savings out of it. So I find this like super fun. Yeah.
Cool. So you talk about like basically Spot instances, or
Yes,
give us a
that's
sneak
like saying
peek. Give us a sneak peek.
there's an engine in a car.
Give me the cold open. You know what the cold open is? So give me a
Beer?
cold open. Yeah, that'd be better. Cold open is like you have 15 seconds to explain what you're going to talk about in the next half hour. So
Okay. So Spot instances have a percentage chance of being terminated because other people use them. So how do you combine multiple different instance families while taking the size of the instance into account to be able to run auto-scaling groups to reduce that risk and meet your SLAs and save money?
So if you want to hear about those things, check out the link there somewhere on the screen.
Yes, on the
register
screen,
for the event. Basically, Cobus is going to have that talk on that topic. So pretty cool. And I mean, it's not just that. There's 12 there's 12 talks across 3 tracks throughout a single day. So and also there's a live Q&A. So I think are you going to be doing the Q&A? I am, but
I'm not officially part of it, but I'm more than happy to jump on and help you with Q&A if you need help. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing a live Q&A. So 15th of October, all day. So should be quite fun. Yeah. Cool. I have slightly different topics. My topics are a bit less of a mouthful, but one is the developer tools deep dive, and the other one is advanced patterns when it comes to infrastructure as code with CDK. So not very sexy titles, but they're good. I must say that I'm proud that my developer tools talk has not mentioned CI/CD. I have not even mentioned CI/CD, or actually, I maybe mention it but don't talk about CI/CD. So I talk about things around the CI/CD part. So it should be pretty fun. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
I will go look at your talk.
It's recorded. It's I've actually finished my last one last night at 1 a.m. So I know that when people will be looking, like my talks have a lot of terminal screenshots in them, and you will see like the dates and the times are usually in the evening. And my demo is like.
Speaking of,
yeah.
Let me just quickly double check Paranoid now. I did clean up. Yes, I did clean up. So I accidentally, when I did my first recording on Thursday, left 50 Spot instances running for a day and a bit before I remembered I need to go clean up.
50.
Yeah.
Luckily, the Spot instances are cheap, so.
Yeah. No, it's luckily not that expensive. It's a few dollars, but I mean, still, it's not like something you want to leave open.
Well, I had a colleague in premium support who used to test a lot of things, and he would work with like big clusters of data and data analytics, and we would measure our costs in his volume. Basically, he would have like a $10,000 a month bill on AWS just because he would run various things and play around with stuff and test out things for customers. So it was you can rank up costs quite fast if you launch Redshift clusters and data analytics pipelines.
I still want to launch an X1 instance one day.
X1. I have never attempted to do that because I think there's a limited amount of them. Like, there's not like thousands of them in a single region. So,
let me quickly see.
I wouldn't do that, just not because of the cost, but because of I wouldn't potentially steal an instance for somebody who actually needs an instance. But yeah.
Yeah, let's see quickly. Can I search for it? Let's see, X1. Yes, here we go. Just for context, in case you're wondering, the X1 32XL has got 128 CPUs and no,
Terabytes.
not quite 2, but almost 2 terabytes of RAM, and also 4 terabytes of SSD.
And the thing is, like, those numbers were ridiculous 3 years ago. But 128 vCPUs you can buy today on a Ryzen Threadripper.
Yeah.
You can have 128 threads running on a Ryzen Threadripper today, and you can have 2 terabytes. The Threadripper actually supports 4 terabytes of RAM, I believe. So you can get it in your desktop workstation if you want. So it is not as ridiculous as you see, as it was like a couple of years ago. But I think there's bigger ones.
Yeah, but I mean,
is there a bigger one?
There is a
bigger
bigger one. So there is one here with almost 4 terabytes of RAM. But just to clarify, they are let me just see if I can find it in this. I don't think you can launch them as plain instances. No, you can't. Okay. So the biggest ones that I've seen are actually the ones used for the SAP HANA database.
It's an in-memory database, so yeah.
Yeah. The biggest certified one we have is a 24 terabyte memory one with 226 cores, if I remember correctly offhand.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go. Wow. No, it's ridiculous. it could get really ridiculous on those things. But hey, I think for a SAP HANA workload, like something where you have to run a massive database within memory, something like that would be, you just have to have that at that scale. So,
yes. I want to answer this question from Waffles.
Yeah, go.
Yes. Cost Explorer is your friend. So if you have not yet looked at Cost Explorer, please do that.
Yeah.
If you give me a second, I might be able to quickly pull it up. I should be able to do it in this screen. So let me just bring that over here. Take that away. I think, Darker, you're on mute again.
I know. Okay, I'm just typing something.
Okay. Let me quickly log in here. I just want to get to the right page before I share it, because sometimes we share personal details, and we don't want to do that. That's my username. Logging in, and I will show you. So, loading, slowly loading. Billing dashboard. Let's just confirm this one doesn't.
And if you launch your Billing Explorer, like the Cost Explorer for the first time, you have to wait 24 hours until it kind of populates things. So if you do it for the first time, you're not going to be able to see it. And that's one thing you need to know. But I think that's the great. It just points you to things that are running. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm just making it a little bit smaller so you can see what it looks like in total. But I mean, basically, if you look at a specific section over here, you can see this is the current spend. Now, granted, this is I've been doing quite a few other things, and then based on the forecast, you can see the forecast is still catching up with all of those instances I have up and running, and you can see the actual services over here. But what you can do is, this is the dashboard. If you go to Cost Explorer over here, and this is where you go have fun as you launch it. Let's just wait for it to load. Sorry, this is one of the fun things being down in Africa, where it's a little bit slower than normal. And I am going to go to Cost Explorer over here. Come now. Oh, exactly what Darko just said. Sorry, 24 hours.
24 hours.
What you can do here is you can actually search by different services, regions, timeframes, actually view it, drill down into it, etc.
But Cost Explorer should track all regions, right? So Waffles, I'm not sure that, like, even if you launch something in a different region, Cost Explorer should not ignore those things. At least that's my opinion, right? So it should all be there. It's all tracked because, hey, we need to bill you, so it doesn't matter.
But I mean, so just quickly on that, Waffles, what you can do is there's actually a feature inside AWS organizations called SCP, Service Control Policies, where what you do is you set up child accounts to your main account. That's the paying account. And then on those child accounts, you can enforce account level restrictions. For example, you can say, do not allow launching anything except in these following list of regions. So that's one of the ways to actually safeguard yourself against these kind of like things happening. Because we've seen this often where, remember, we put 24 regions live. A lot of people don't run in all 24 in one account. So always figure out how can you lock that down. Now, the good news there is because of this feedback, exactly what you're talking about, new regions, when they go live, are not enabled by default. You have to explicitly enable them with a root user in your account. So now, for example, Cape Town, Bahrain, Milan, I can't remember. I don't think Stockholm was in the initial list that made it when that feature launched, but those are not enabled by default anymore.
Yeah. So that's a fair point, right? Disabled regions will not show up because you cannot use them at all. So, but all regions should show up. All resources should show up. I don't recall that there's like an option of opting out for something for Cost Explorer. I mean, it's just a way we track things.
Yeah, you should be able to see it there.
Yeah. Guruk, hey, good morning. Hi, welcome to the stream. And Guruk asks, I am looking for Amazon Connect, how to get started using this service. So when you're talking about Amazon Connect, you are talking about the virtual call center service. It's actually pretty awesome. I was really surprised how a lot of customers actually started using it. It's basically just a way for you to launch your own call center with all the bells and whistles. So things like chat and calls and emails, everything you need for a proper support / call center. All the phone infrastructure. You know, hey, if you ever had did you ever have to set up like a phone setup
Luckily not.
Oh my God, like multiple phone lines. I forgot how those devices are called. Like there's like it's just a complete mess, right? You don't want to work with that. And this is just very great to get started with, right? So how to learn, how to get started, there's a lot of great resources on it. Of course, I would always point you to the documentation, but also I would also point you to like a blog. There's a blog about Contact Center. Let me just paste it here. This is a blog that we kind of put all the content regarding AWS Connect on it. So it's a great source for a lot of good articles on Connect. So that would be my advice to have check out what you want to do, right? And it's easy to play around with, but again, be mindful of the costs. It is play as you use, but it is. I'm not sure what the pricing is actually, because it's a pretty complex service. So there's a cost per minute for voice, there's a cost per message for chat, and there's also phone number claims. So it is. I think that's most of the costs, right? So yeah, that's
I've never actually used it. So
I did set it up once and actually could set up an outbound phone number and can call the number and can receive calls from that number. So it works, right? So it's relatively easy to get it running. But again, using Amazon Connect would it's not something you would spin up for yourself because you have no use for it, right? It's useless just to run it for yourself. But you would have to do it for some actual company, or if your company wants to have a call center. Even if you have a small IT team, if you have a local internal IT team, having a call center setup could be beneficial. So it's great. And also, it has machine learning enabled, so you can have
oh yes,
how it's called, I forgot, but basically you can
sentiment analysis.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do sentiment analysis. Basically, you have machine learning listen to a phone call and chat messages and decipher what was said when, and transcribe those phone calls into text, and it can potentially flag false information. It's very powerful. So you can set up a proper top tier call center with that. So pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Sorry, I keep looking sideways at time. I'm having a nice giggle here. My little dog is having a nap but twitching, and I'm 100% convinced that it's because this morning, when she was outside, there were 3 or 4 squirrels playing in the one tree, and obviously she's got some terrier blood in her, so she was trying to get them all.
She's dreaming of squirrels, right?
Oh yeah. The feet are twitching. It's quite amusing.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Cool. Excellent. Thank you all for the questions and the topics. If you have any question or topic or something you would like us to talk about, because today's talk is basically just, hey, let's have a coffee and let's talk tech. And I drank all my coffee. So let's talk tech. Yeah. So feel free to ask us something or suggest points we can talk about. It can be a discussion. It doesn't have to be a straight on question. If you would like to hear our thoughts on something, if that's of any worth. But yeah. Podcast update. We haven't created a podcast per se, but you can count on this episode in this episode and the things we're recording like now to be part of the podcast. So if you're listening through this on podcast, hello and welcome. But yeah, so
Yes. I need to actually get up my dad jokes then.
you have to. Ostanovevo, how to create IAM roles? Well, that's a very easy question. Cobus, can you create an IAM role?
Yeah, I can do that quickly over here. You go into IAM.
Yeah,
I am, not ISM.
you are.
Cool. This is loading. And now what I can say is you click on role. You say create role.
Okay.
And now this is where the first decision is. You have to fix, because remember, an IAM role is something that a non-human uses. So some kind of service. So you have to say, who's going to be using this? Because part of the security built in is that when you give permissions, you also say, this specific service may use this role. So I can't create an IAM role for an EC2 instance that is used by Fargate, for example.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say common use cases, we want an EC2 instance to be able to connect to S3. So I'll select EC2 over here, go next to the permission side. And then let's say we want to give it access to all S3 buckets. I can search for policies with S3 in it. And for example, full access, outpost full access. There should be a read-only. Let's see, is there S3? Yeah, there we go. We give it read-only access, and then we say tags if we want to tag it for whatever reason, and now we give it royal. So EC2 S3 read only. Not a full stop. That's very bad. And now you say create role. And what you can see over here allows EC2 instances to call AWS services on your behalf. And I've got my service, so I can look over here, can see my details, and boom, now you can start using it. That's how you would create a role in the most simplest form. Obviously, there might be some other things that you want to take into account.
Exactly. So you can do this thing manually, like Cobus did. You can do it. You can automate it through CloudFormation or Terraform or CDK. You can do it through a SDK or scripting or CLI, whatever you would like to do it. But that's basically the point. When you create a role, you create a thing. A role is just a wrapper that gives a specific policy to a specific entity, right? And you have to define the entity. In this case, it's an EC2 instance or the EC2 service, actually. And then you attach a policy that actually gives its permissions on those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. More questions from Ostanovevo. What are the best security services available on AWS? Our company is taking project in which security is the first priority. Security is always first priority. And so security is job zero. No matter what you're doing, security should be on top. Now, the best security service, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as a best security service. Any service that gives you the ability to properly secure your application, your infrastructure, and that everything you're running is the best.
We can name some.
We can name some, of course. We could talk about IAM is like identity and access management. That's like the first thing you're going to be doing. If you want to secure things like from the internet, like you can have a web application firewall or WAF, right? That's a feature that basically can secure application traffic from the internet. You can have something called Shield and Shield Advanced. By default, everybody has Shield enabled. Shield gives you DDoS protection or dynamic denial of service protection. And Shield Advanced gets you all of that plus a specific DDoS response team. So if something happens to you, and there's also like I think a financial buffer for the Shield Advanced. Like we buffer costs if you experience a DDoS attack that would cause you a heavy spike in AWS usage. So a few things exist out there. Security Hub. Quickly, Cobus, you find yourself.
I'm whipping up a slide for us.
Okay. Then maybe this will be better. Cobus can actually visualize.
There we go. So we could just talk about these. These are literally just some of the security services, not even all of them. When I have this deck that I have here is one that I normally use when I chat to startups about things that they need to focus on. So you've mentioned Security Hub isn't on here. I need to add that.
It's an old deck.
No. It's just like, remember, this is a subset. This is not all of them. Subset.
Okay. Subset. Yeah. There's more services out there.
Yeah. We spoke about Shield. We haven't even spoken about AWS Systems Manager.
Session Manager, yeah. So Session Manager is basically can replace all of your Bastion hosts, gives you the ability to SSH or remote into your EC2 instances without the need for SSH at all or any open ports. So it is a really great way to do it. By the way, I'm just going to make a slight tangent here. You know Cloud9, our lovely development environment?
Oh, yeah?
Did you know you can launch Cloud9 behind Session Manager?
Yes, I saw the blog post.
Yeah, so you can actually, basically, you have to have port 22 open for Cloud9 to work. But if you do it through Session Manager, you don't. So you can have a completely isolated EC2 instance, even egress and ingress, and still work through Session Manager. So really great. Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually super useful. What else in here is super awesome that people don't often use? Certificate Manager, people aren't always aware of, which allows you to create free SSL certificates for use in services in AWS. And it's from a security posture perspective, there is you don't have the actual cert. It's automatically managed for you.
Yeah.
And you just add it to different services now, and we take care of the rest. Amazon Cognito, that is a service that allows you to manage user and user pools. So things like, for example, having them sign up, having them reset their password, add a second factor auth, etc. That's all taken care of by Cognito for you.
Yeah. So if you have an application, so let's say you're building an application and you need to have a user pool, you need to have a user base, a way for people to authenticate to your application, you can easily use Cognito for that, because Cognito gives you all the bells and whistles you need for an authentication service, and then you handle the authorization in any way you want. So it's a really great way to do those things. It's like don't create your own authentication methods and user pools, because most likely you will not do it as secure as Cognito.
I did at one point write my own hashing algorithm on my API calls and realized that there are public libraries I could have used. But it was fun building it. I felt good. I was young and I knew everything.
My first authentication method was in PHP, and I stored passwords in plain text. Because what? Like,
you didn't know better.
And it's not like I made it for me. I made it for a company. And I really didn't know better. I'm like, oh, that just works. And I could have all of a sudden go into MySQL and see everybody's passwords in plain text. I'm like, is this supposed to be this way? And then somebody very experienced told me, like, no, buddy, no. You should do something else.
Yeah. Now, I recently learned a nice trick on LinkedIn is where you prefix your name with an emoji, because you can do emoji space and then your actual first name. Okay. What that does then is when people start sending you these automated mails that sound super personal, or that you can see, hi, in my case, Avo, or hi, question. If the system can't handle the emoji, you immediately are like, okay, I find this is automated.
That's a cool thing, yeah. So Rudix asked a question regarding Cognito. I was struggling with refreshing the session, which is maximum 1 day. Is it a good practice to make request every second to check if the session is expired and to renew it with React? No, that would be just, I mean, unless it's something very, like my banking application doesn't do that, right? Like that often. So it's you don't have to do it so often. Like you have to do it every once in a while. So think of it as a token. And this is what you get. You get a token, and this token is valid for an amount of time, and you can check for the validity of the token somewhere in that time. You don't have to do it quite often. I mean, I think it would be okay. You have security, things where you would check it, from time to time, but not every second. That would just strain your resources.
But there are some of this, I don't know if Cognito has this, to be honest, but I know there's some ways where if you're logged into a service, every time you actually make a call, there's a mechanism in place to renew your token. So you keep saying, well, because I'm still busy, just reset the account again. So only if you are inactive for X amount of time does it actually log you out.
I believe that's how people do it in Cognito as well. Like they actually just request a new token every time there's a call made or something like that. If you're logged in, I mean, that's fine. But there's a fixed limit of how long the token can last. I think it's 1 day, and you cannot have an active token more than 1 day, and which is fine, right? Yeah. So I always remember Puppet used to do this. Puppet, the configuration management tool, like you would have to, when you log into Puppet, you generate a token that can last for a specific amount of time, but like the maximum was like 1 year. So generate a token, just use it for 1 year, which is horrible. But yeah, don't do it every second. That would be just too much.
Okay.
More questions. So, if I wanted to build a chess playing website, do you have an idea how to make people play from 2 countries, how to connect them? Not the best question, but This is a more of an application development question, and
I would say use WebSockets and then
WebSockets, yeah.
Yeah, and then have each of the web versions actually be able to push and pull. So there's a nice talk, if I can find it quickly for you, called VoteRocket that shows you some
Okay.
very basics. Oops.
Yeah.
Oh no, you saw my tabs. Just not that. Let me just take this away before I accidentally share something I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, but in essence, WebSockets are kind of one of the things that you should check out, because WebSockets enable you to have a established session between different players on a single website, like a back and forth session. So that's somehow like, but I'm not by no means like a big developer that can help you with that. But there are services out there that can help you with those things. Yeah, and there's a link
Have a look at that one.
from Cobus,
Yeah.
so you can check this out one. So yeah, check.
Yeah,
this out.
so let me just bring this back up again for Alex Smashers, that were just talking in general about security, and we had a question around what different services do we have available. So I just quickly brought up this deck that had a couple of icons from a session that I do.
Yeah. So there's been a few security topics today because we had one person join us initially, and he's in cybersecurity, and that's
Yes.
kind of a thing.
Online spectacles.
Online spectacles. That's kind of how we started talking security, and yeah, it's been back and forth. So Alex Masha, you're not late for anything. Nobody's ever late for anything in our stream. So because we keep on reiterating what we talked about, and yeah, so and people who are here quite often, they might hear us repeat the same jokes and the same stories. So we apologize for that, but we're trying.
We only do that if we tell our TCP joke, Darko. We only do that if we tell our TCP joke, Darko. Can you please acknowledge I can stop?
ACK. Is the ACK response? Yeah, ACK is the response. Yeah, ACK is the response. ACK. I remember one of my early jobs. The question I had was like, "What is the three-way handshake?" And I didn't know. Like, I literally didn't know what the three-way handshake was. I'm like, I wasn't even like in the ballpark. What is it about? Like, he's like TCP. I'm like, okay. I guess I was young and I didn't know stuff.
Would you say that is a sin?
Jesus, Cobus. You overdid it today. My God. Do you remember your first technical interview question?
No, because I remember the interview, but I don't remember the question because I literally told the interviewer, I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember my first one. It was, what is a patch panel? And I didn't know.
It's the thing you put over here and you go, arr.
And I remember that this person asked me like, oh, so what's a patch panel? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm sure I can find out. That was my answer. Oh, man. Okay, cool. So, Chataros, how would you securely pass some passwords to EC2 for starting services that need those credentials as environment variables in their config scripts?
Softball question. Awesome. There are various ways you can do it. One way is using AWS parameter store, because that allows you to store values securely. You can also make use of AWS Secrets Manager. So it's a service where what you do is you can store values in this service. And then for the instance that's making that request, so in this case, let's say an EC2 instance, you give it an IAM role with permissions inside the policy to allow it to access those specific secrets. And then you can, with the AWS CLI, make a call saying, hey, retrieve those values and set them as environment variables if you wanted to, and then access them. Then there's also app config, enter Darko, stage left.
Yeah, app config is basically like a great way to pass configuration items. It doesn't have to be a password, but it can be a password as well. But it's a great way to manage those configurations. So it's like a front end to parameter store, for example, where you can actually make changes to the way you deploy those changes. You can deploy configuration and password changes gradually in those things. But in general, what Cobus said, parameter store or secrets manager, that would be the essential way to do it. If your application needs to query those things from a config file, you need to find a way to update the config file once in a while. So You can have basically like a cron job running or a scheduled task running every once in a while to update your config file with the password. And by giving your EC2 instance permissions to access those things in Parameter Store or Secrets Manager, you have taken care of like all the authentication and the stuff you need on that. So pretty straightforward. And I think I even have, let me share a video. If I may, Cobus. Yeah. Let me share a
This is
video.
our joint show, so you're allowed to. You don't have to put
so-
that in the jar.
I've actually, I have a YouTube channel, right? Like all the kids today. So I have a YouTube channel where I have a video right now on Secrets Manager and Parameter Store. So if you want to check that out, it's on that link right there or the link in the chat. So do check it out. Do smash the like and the subscribe buttons. I would highly appreciate those things.
You have to say, ding the bell.
Ding the bell, ding the bell so you get notified for new uploads. I haven't uploaded I haven't uploaded a video in like a week and a half, so it's
I've been trying to, but I mean, it's been overly busy, and I don't feel like uploading just a random video about whatever I did. Well, except for rearranging my room, that I can do.
Insist on the highest standards, right?
Yes.
Let me answer another question from Ostanojevo. What new things has AWS included in the machine learning platform? Oh boy. Define new. Are you talking about this week or, like in the last few months? So there's a lot of things happening from when it comes to AWS machine learning. We have so many services, different layers of different services. So really, you would need to pinpoint your question a bit more so we can answer it better. But yeah. I see yours.
I'm going to show this video. Yes, I'm getting ready. Let's see if this works. It doesn't have any sound. Let's add to stream. There we go. And just for those who are wondering, so it does. I'm going to actually speed it up when I do the actual video. This is me finishing up last night and then fixing my studio. So first thing is obviously lights on, lights off.
Yeah.
Running around.
Wow.
And now this is where the fun starts. Wait for it, because this looks like obviously a professional studio.
Yeah, exactly. And
let's make it a little bit more personal.
Wow, I thought there was like a white background. I thought.
Nope. This is literally this wall. And now wait for the kicker. This is the fun one that I need to find a proper solution to.
You move a shelf, man. Love that. You need to get the wheels on the shelf so you can just slide it in.
And then if there can be like a secret layer behind it, that'll be the best.
Yeah. I actually went to like a speakeasy in Austin, Texas, where you would go into like a motel. You go to a motel and it was basically just behind a bookshelf, like a bar. So amazing. So to answer the machine learning question you asked last few months, well, again, a lot of things. But I can say that like one of the things that I remember from last few months that Amazon Transcribe, which is a service that does transcription of audio into text, like it's basically a voice to text or speech to text service that uses machine learning. It had a bunch of improvements. You can actually just now, you can stream real-time audio into it. There's also improvements for comprehend, that it can automatically detect which languages talked into. So I think we would need an hour and a half show just to talk about new things in the last few months when it comes to machine learning on AWS. Highly suggest that you check out the AWS What's New blog. You can also filter based on which services you are, which service groups. But I highly recommend you check that out. Like also just find a good RSS newsreader and give yourself an hour a week to catch up on, because I found that being very useful. So yeah.
Hey, thank you, Greencoat.
Yeah, thank you very much.
This is worthwhile coming on the screen.
Yeah, we appreciate all the feedback, and please let us know if we can do something better, because we appreciate we enjoy the positive feedback. Like it fills our heads and all the stuff. But do tell us know what we can do better, right? If we're not doing something good, because we want to make sure that this show is not for us. We're, we talk to each other quite often. We want to make sure that you get informed, you get entertained.
Yeah, get some value out of it.
Get some value out of it. So this one's for you, right? But yeah.
I will definitely make use of my mood poster to help you in future. I love this poster. So for those not familiar with which shoulder, this poster.
Yeah.
But actually, let me fetch it quickly. Give me a second.
Yeah. It's the moods of Darth Vader, right? Expressions of Darth Vader. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So Wapples is waiting patiently for streaming on the rocks. Yeah, we were supposed to do it last week, but again, obligations came into, and that was a kind of a problem that we just couldn't. Like, it was just too hectic last week, and I've now realized that I missed so many things that I wanted to do the last weeks, but do expect some late evening drinking, and also very important, do expect something to happen at the spooky time of October. So I know not everybody celebrates Halloween, or it's not a thing for everybody in the world, but both Cobus and I will do something for Halloween. It's gonna be like a fun stream those kind of things. Yeah. So expect the a stream on the horror stories from IT. So we want to tell our stories, and if you have stories to share, please do let us know. We would love to talk about your stories. We should dress up like each other. I mean, are we not doing it?
So on that one, if you do at some point, we're still trying to work out the coordination of where we can be at the same place where there will be at least a talk by one of us.
Yeah.
Because we are planning to do where you distract the audience by pointing at something at the far corner away from you, and then we swap on stage mid-talk. So
exactly.
we are planning that.
That's an idea for a time. So yeah, but we will definitely do something for Halloween. Maybe we even dress up. Like I have some Halloween decorations around the house. My wife has bought a lot of those things, so I need to set up a few things here to talk about spooky things. So yeah, and we all have horror stories from IT. So feel free to share them with us. I mean, I would be happy to like, I think it's also a fun episode we can do at one point after Halloween, that we can talk about mistakes. And if you want to share your mistake, we'll promise we'll not mention your name or the company.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we will not mention your name, and you do not mention the company, please. So and we would like to talk about those things, and not just like a way of entertaining you, but also like a way of what could we do to avoid those things, right?
Yes.
Because one of the best things about a mistake is when you learn from it. Right? It hurts a lot, but if you do not learn from what you did, it was in vain. Right?
Actually, let me quickly hop on the VPN. Don't worry, I won't drop. I'm just reaching for my YubiKey that hangs here to give the email address, because we have an email address that you can send us these information.
Yeah.
And while I'm doing that quickly and clicking, Darko, tell us, what is your most horrific IT story as a quick summary, but just the short version.
Tearing down production in the middle of the week by upgrading firmware to a NAS.
Ooh.
Yeah, and NAS has two controllers, right? Both of them failed at the same time, and like the company had all things, Active Directory, Exchange, all the things on that NAS, or actually not the NAS, it's a SAN, on a SAN device. And basically for a week, everybody went on a forced vacation because nothing was working. Jesus.
No, that's a little bit rough.
Yeah. So, but let's say that I didn't do that. A friend of a friend of a friend did that. So I would put it that way. Yeah. I did once fry a server board. I was building a server, like an actual physical server, long time ago. I've while it was running, I laid down a screwdriver on the motherboard. Like nothing, just plop it down on the motherboard, just like short circuited half of the motherboard. The magic smoke came out. And it was bye-bye motherboard, right? So
yeah, and that's where you go like, oops,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if you have stories you would like us to talk about and mention in the scary, spooky November Halloween discussion on IT, do send this out on us email. We are very much happy to answer, not answer, but talk about it and comment on it.
Yes.
Of course, we will not mention your names.
Yes, don't worry. Darker did this. I'm sorry, there's something in my throat.
Yeah. So last thing, Osta Novevo, because we have to finish up soon. Best thing about working for AWS. Let me get my banjo out.
Lots.
I always say that this is the best job I've ever had by far. The company is just amazing to work for. The job I'm doing now, and Cobus can attest to this. It's just it is exhausting at times, but it's very fulfilling. We get to talk to you engineers, your developers, and Amazon gives you this freedom, this ability to be very highly customer focused. So everything that we have like a massive amount of honesty we can do, and talk to you and get your feedback, and just like, hey, it's not this corporate entity. And when you see our faces, we're trying to make this not a corporate entity. We are AWS, and if you want something to be told to AWS, let us know, and we'll get it to the right people. So.
And also, I think it's the challenges are hard ones. It's not like, for example, when I was back in consulting, I knew that I had to go in and put in a CI/CD pipeline, and 3-4 months of the following work, and boom, I get my money. This is literally like you don't know the solution to the problem yet, and you trying to fix it. So that's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Cool.
With that,
I think we can slowly end it up because it's been an hour and a half now. See you this week. Maybe we do some streaming on Rocks. We'll let you know throughout the week. But in any case, Friday, another edition of Bean Streaming is happening because we want to talk about DevOps. We want to talk about our questions for a DevOps interview. So if you're interested in that, make sure to follow us.
Or send us some questions you think are great interview questions. Yeah,
exactly. Last time we discussed the bad interview questions. So,
that was fun.
Agile. Make sure to do that. Also, make sure to sign up for the Dev Day coming up on October 15th. So let me just see if I can pop up the screen on the thing. Make sure to sign up for the Dev Day on the this October 15th, where you can see both of our faces delivering actual technical talks and not just rambling. So and thank you very much for the comments. Yeah, go.
Cool. Just quickly say that this Dev Day is a free event, so you don't pay for it. You click, you register, and you can attend for free.
Yeah. So, Wapples, you can send questions to Twitter, or you can send it to our email address, which we had popped up a moment ago. Like there, you can do that as well, or Twitter or LinkedIn, carrier pigeon, whatever you like. You can send us a letter. So, Halloween stream is coming up on Halloween. So I think it's the 30th of October. I'm not sure.
31st. I do think it's a Saturday, so we might need to time it a bit later that evening, so I can first put the kiddies to bed.
Exactly. So it's going to be in the evening. So if you're looking into like evening Central European and South African time, so it's in the India time zone. So but it's going to come, and there's going to be a recording if you missed it and all that stuff. But cool. Thank you everybody for joining, and thank you for the questions and the comments. And I will be ending the stream right now.
Cool.
Thank you all.